Right, we move on to stage 6, today's stage. We said that it was going to be, not a boring stage. No stage of the Tour de France is ever boring. But we said it would be a break going up the road. The guys would let it go. Only 3 guys managed to go up the road, but they let it go. Chris Froome and his team, I think, had another easy, nice, relaxed day in the bunch. We saw coming into the finish, big, wide open space. What was it with the DD Data guys getting on the front so early?
Oh. I was screaming at that TV so loud. I don't understand what they were thinking. I think, the fact that Cavendish is now missing, that's basically just thrown their whole train or lead-out train completely out of sequence now. You've got the guys coming up to the front. They're coming up way too early. We see 3-4 of them on the front with 2.5 kilometers to go. Tactically, any team that has a sprinter would know that the only time you want to put your nose in the wind if you're only 3 or 4 riders is with the final kilometer to go. Line it up, full gas, make it as hard as possible, and make the sprint as fast as possible. Bosenhagen, tactically, I think he had the right idea, but he went way too early. If he had saved himself maybe another 100, 150 meters, 200 meters possibly, he could have been able to have a better result and really stick it to the sprinters.
H, do you think that might be because he doesn't quite have that flatline speed of a Kittel, of a Demar, that he fancies himself going a bit early and trying to catch them unawares or cause a bit of chaos and confusion again?
Most definitely. I think if he, he's a really strong rider. He is fast, not got the kind of top end that Demar and the other sprinters have, but he is really fast. And if you watch the stage today, when he did go, that was with over 500 meters to go. He only faded when the sprinters really started going at about 150 to go. If he hadn't faded, in other words, started the sprint later, it could have maybe been a little bit more difficult for the sprinters to get around him.
And H, we saw again that the lead-out trains didn't really work today. So we will discuss lead-out trains in a later edition as well. But it was a little bit chaotic. I mean, even the guys commentating on the race were saying, yeah, but Kittel's nowhere. Kittel's in 30th, 40th position. There again, it just showed the class of this guy. Be calm, relax, take your time, find a gap, get through the gap. We saw when he chose to go to the left on that finish, that gap was nice and wide for him and he was happy. He has got that explosive power to put the hammer down and run away.
Yeah, most definitely. It's frustrating sometimes to watch the racing. You as a rider sitting there watching the TV, you kind of like know where those different mile markers are. Maybe the teams, there's so much chaos, there's so much happening, the nerves, everybody's just looking around for the sprinter, trying to look after them. There's confusion, there's the DS in your ear screaming at you to do this, to do that. You're trying to concentrate, you got your mates screaming at you behind. There's a lot happening, a hell of a lot happening in a sprint scenario like that. And there's no one team that actually has this dialed in. And I hope to see a sprint stage where we have at least one team that's just, they time it perfectly. They have their 5 or 6 riders that are dialed in, they hit 2 kilometers to go, they're on the front, and I can guarantee you that is a beautiful sprint to watch.
Yeah, well, hopefully they get a chance tomorrow before they get to some of the bigger bumps and mountains that are coming. Tomorrow might suit the sprinters again. Today's stage results, what did we expect? The fast boys are there. We can't every day select the favourite sprinter to win. So both you and I gave Kittel and Demar a skip yesterday. You did choose
Greipel.
You chose Greipel. The gorilla was there, really looking good, but you could see the frustration and disappointment on his face. And remember that Greipel, every Grand Tour he started, he has won a stage. So at the moment he's winless and he knows that these faster stages are running out. There's going to be a bit of fatigue when he gets to sprint stages after the mountains. But the sprinters were all there, no change to the GC. No. Froome still on top, Thomas with him, and then we've got a Roux, Martin and Port. So status quo as it was the day before.
Okay, before we move on to tomorrow's stage, just a little bit of information on the speed that Kittel was clocking when he crossed the line today. 71 kilometers an hour. He is fast. So on to tomorrow's stage, the preview. Here we go.
Well, as we said, 213.5 Ks. There's lots of talk about wind and rain and what's going to happen there.
If we have the elements that come and play, in other words, we have a little bit of wind, a little bit more than today, we could see a very, very interesting sort of race. The bunch could break into pieces and come back again. The GC riders, if the weather is ominous for this stage, they will be very, very nervous. These are days where the GC riders can lose tons of time. You can lose 30 seconds on a hill climb finish, you maybe lose 40 seconds on a hill climb finish. On a stage like the one that's coming, a GC rider can lose minutes upon minutes upon minutes.
So tomorrow we have an intermediate sprint at 108 Ks. We have a small Cat 4 climb at 147.5, and your GC guys can be in danger with those elements we're talking about. I think when it comes to tomorrow's stage, Kittel is the fastest man in the tour. He is not in the green jersey at the moment. I think his problem is he hasn't been contesting those intermediate sprints that well, but he is definitely the fastest man in the tour. So I'm not even going to give you a chance to select tomorrow. I'm going with Kittel.
Okay, cool. I'm going to stick with my man Grapple. I'm going to give him another chance to take the top step of the podium. And then lastly, with regards to the breakaway tomorrow, again, Sky will let the breakaway right away. They'll let the gap grow and leave it up to the sprinters to bring it back. It's their responsibility. Those guys won stages. There's quite a few sprinters that haven't won one, so they're going to want to put the guys on the front, bring it back, and we're going to be on for another fast finish.
Guys, that's it. That's another wrap. To our mate Bling Dave down at Farm City, Dave's Bike Service Centre. Look him up. He's got a Facebook page. Go and comment on his Facebook page. Come and give him a visit. He'll look after your machine for you. H, thanks a lot, and we'll be together again tomorrow.
Thank you. See you again soon.
Cheers.